Hey everyone, Matthew with Riptide Scaping, and today we're going to be building a small waterfall as a Christmas present. So just going through a list of some of the things that you'll need, starting from the left hand side, we have some plants, which are asparagus ferns, mosses, and phottonias, Seiryu stone, a water pump, a 12-inch bowl, some great stuff Pondon stone, and some Tropica substrate along with some sand. So the first step is adding the water pump. I'm just going to use a marker to outline where I want the pool of water to sit. I need to make sure that there's enough water being fed into the pump. Next, I'm just marking where I want my planter pots to be. I'm making sure they go all the way down to the glass just to make sure that the roots have enough room to grow. Now for just a little time lapse of me using the spray foam. This is definitely the most fun part of the whole process. And don't worry too much if it goes where you don't want it to go. You can always carve it later. And now we'll take a little 45-minute break while the foam hardens. Let's feed some fish. So this is my 64-gallon tank. The pearl gouramis are still really shy unless they're being fed, but the green fire tetras are perfectly fine with being out in the open with you nearby. Now with a little bit of movie magic, I should be able to snap my fingers and turn these stones into little bits. Little bits. Now to wait another 45 minutes, we'll check out the Buddha tank. This is my 35-gallon cube. I run it without CO2, without filtration, and with low light. I do water changes once a month. And the shrimp and the celestial pearls and the endlers, they all thrive. Once the foam's dry, make sure that you spray foam in the cracks of the already dried foam. This just makes sure that it's as waterproof as possible. You don't want any water leaking into the planter pots, which can give your plants root rot. And this is a little progress video showing you what it looks like now. It doesn't look like much. Looks like a giant brain. And this is roughly the final height of the waterfall. I'll close the top off once I get the waterfall working and making sure there's no leaks. The top will have a fogger in it, so you have to close it off, otherwise water gets everywhere. Time to start carving. This is what it looks like once it's carved. Make sure it's generally smooth, just so your rocks stick properly, using super glue like in our last video. As well as silicone for the larger pieces of stone. And once you've tested the waterfall, you'll see where the water leaks, and you can patch it with silicone. You can also spray foam it again, just to seal any holes. This is probably the longest part of the process, and there's the fogger in the top. Next, we'll be choosing our rocks. I find it easiest to sort them by base and by peak. So these are all my base rocks. And these are all the rocks that I would be using for the peak of the mountain. I've finally closed the top off. That way the fogger doesn't leak. And here's a progress picture of what it looks like with the stones siliconed and glued in place. At this point, it's all up to your own creativity of where you think the rocks would look best. Next, I added bonsai sticks from a dead bonsai tree I had from this summer. I think it gives it a more natural look. I'll be adding substrate from Tropica. You add about a 1 centimeter layer, and this gives your plants all the nutrients they would need to thrive. Next, I'll be capping the substrate with just regular aquarium sand. You need to cap the substrate just to make sure that it doesn't leach too much into the water column. It also dirties the tank really quickly. And now to add a little bit of accent pieces. These are just little chips of stone I had from smashing the stones earlier. Now it's time for me to snap my fingers and stop talking. Hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe.